Hello and welcome to episode number 7 of this playthrough of the game The Unfinished Swan. Today we will be looking at chapter 4, The King's Dream, which looks to be the final chapter in our story about a little boy called Monroe. Now, in between the previous episode and this episode, I've gone back to the previous chapters to gather all of the balloons. I've edited where I found these locations into the previous episodes if you've watched to the end of every chapter. So I will be starting with just these 5 balloons that I have not yet found in just this last chapter. So let's hop in.
Ah, it's you, the boy from my dream. What a strange dream it was. My life's work was being destroyed, and all I could do was watch.
Come, sit here by the fire.
Oh, is that a talking
It all
him?
began right there, in the house I grew up in. I heard
Oh,
a heavy
beautiful.
knocking at the door, just like on the night I left.
Oh, how cool. So we're in an ink drawing with hatch marks to indicate shadows. And there was a knock at the door. Now, just to test, can I shoot anything? Yes, it looks like a water globe.
I
Solid.
opened the door, but there was nothing there, just white space.
Okay, so it looks like I might have to go inside of the door. Oh, huh? Oh, that was odd. I saw the ball and it looked like it was falling, but it's also bouncing this way. But it's a mirror. So I'm looking in the mirror and I'm this small version of the king with his mustache and his hat. And we saw pictures of the king like this in chapter 3, where we found a little workshop of the king with paintings, or inside the tower perhaps also in the escape sequence. Oh, so the house ends here. I see a little ledge. Aha, I knew it. That would be where I would also hide a balloon. So let's outline this edge here. We have this armchair. Okay, so it looks like we've explored the room. Just want to see what is here in the picture. And we see a large king with a tiny toy, perhaps that is a hippo. And what looks like the king as a boy here with his little mustache. Just to check if there's anything in the fireplace, because 2 of the puzzles had things to do with the fireplace, a balloon, and a way up. Let's explore around us. Looks like we're in a closed room. Let me use my hose gun. Oh, trying to get my bearings. Maybe even, if we want to see the whole thing, stop time, use the hose. And it looks like we are going this way. And I'm thinking with this decoration and the way we came from, see, we also have the light there. It looks like we are back in the same world that we started in chapter 1. That also had this box here with this vase, then here a door with 2 lanterns, and then we should be going outside and see the cliffs with the bamboo on the top there.
But when I got outside, disaster. Some miscreant had painted everything. My garden was ruined.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so it is the chapter we started in, and I think we were the miscreant who painted his world. Now, can we wash the world? Oh, and there's the king statue that we also saw in first chapter. Oh, is it here?
And then my statue spoke and said,
Help me! Some little hooligan is running around splattering everything in the garden. I think he's headed for the... Something got in my mouth. Oh dear.
Oh. Oh, a balloon. Okay. So there were only 3 balloons in the first part. Now I don't know where part 1 itself will end. Oh, and this wall, of course, was not broken when we first arrived here. And we have now punched through a wall in the city.
My unfinished labyrinth, abandoned and forgotten.
With the castle in the distance. Now let's check here to be sure.
And then the credits appeared.
Your dreams have credits?
Oh yes, and subtitles.
So it's getting a bit meta, talking about itself. pole. We also had one of those with the balloon. Now living on the edge here. Oh, and it looks like the tower is upside down. Oh, the whole town there is upside down. Okay, so it looks like maybe we're going through all of the mechanics again, since now we have this planned part, and we started in chapter 1 with the ink part. So perhaps this is a kind of overview of the mechanics. This time I have the hose.
And then I saw my beautiful city strangled by those disgusting vines. I built it to stand 100 lifetimes, and instead it'll be buried in one, a monument for weeds.
Okay, and I saw something falling, like the city is kind of falling apart. Of course, we have our balloon here. That's number 3. If I can reach it. Climb a bit higher, perhaps. Yeah, okay. Balloon number 3. Then I can just pay attention to the game. Oh, and we have a giant swan head here. Okay, this is pretty cool. So that's the tree that we also climbed. Found 2 balloons, I think, when we exited the maze. Let's see where this goes now. This is the end of the plan.
It was full of people, like the old days. It smelled like roasted goose. For a moment, I was happy.
So our king is reliving moments from his childhood, it seems. There's a staircase here. But it also looks like there's this canvas. Or perhaps it's a mirror. Let's check what's up here. Perhaps it's just a dead end. Yeah, I think so. Aha, so the king has aged now. He's built his city with his incomplete maze. And we see him older, which was his self like it was in chapter 2. Oh, and then here the text is backward. The dining hall, I think we also
And suddenly, I was alone again.
saw that.
The world had become cold and dark.
Uh-oh. Okay. So now we're in chapter 3, territory. This is a really cool shot. Very artistic. Playing with light like this. Oh, and oh, there's water rising. Damn.
I felt
I was looking
my own
around.
death rising up around me.
Can we float on the table? Is the water still rising? F to pick up box. Oh. Hang on. I can move them now. Ah, I see. I saw in the Steam page that there is an achievement to fling a box up a certain distance. So perhaps we need to do something like make a beam. Oh, and you can only have one at a time. So the achievement that I saw is that you have to fling a box up a certain distance, but I don't know if it has to be with a contraption like a lever mechanic. Do I just throw it? There's not really any physics to it. So I see what I have to do is make a platform that floats, throw it in the water, and then get on top. But you cannot apparently have two boxes active at the same time, so physics mechanics are kind of out of question there. And then we hop on and we float forward. We have a balloon there.
I floated past chunks of the house I built, or started building. Scarcely 10 years later, and the whole thing was in ruins. My works were meant to last forever, but most of them will be gone before I am.
What?
I was at a funeral. My own.
Oh, I
as
thought it
turned
drowned.
out. No one was there. Except you.
That's kind of sad. Damn. I should have jumped into the house, perhaps. Hey, there's Monroe. Big Swan and Monroe there, looming over the dead king. Oh, and that thing there, why I see Monroe is because it's a mirror. If I move left, right, I can see myself.
I saw my monument, my last hope of leaving something that would live on after me, and I began to walk towards it.
Do I jump out of the window then? Ooze animation.
With each step I took, I got larger.
Well, I was just wondering. Oddly enough, I go closer to the edge of the pier and the camera was panning up. So I was curious what was happening there, if there were invisible steps below me or an invisible ramp. But we are becoming larger.
I just kept growing and growing, like a teenager. With a gentle push, my monument crumbled and sank. I saw my life's work laid out in front of me. Soon it would crumble into dust or be painted over by someone who would come after me, the same way I painted over what was here before me.
Oh, cool. Are we getting a top view of the world? So there was this this moment while I stare at this beautiful scenery here, where we had a, what was it, a telescope, I believe, in chapter 2, right at the very end, by the seawall. We climbed up that astronomical tower and looked through the large telescope, and we saw the moon. And on the moon, there were two figures, very large. It looked like with cloaks, with sunlight in the background. And now I'm walking forward, and I'm seeing that same kind of lighting here on the surface, the white surface, and we see the sun in the background, so perhaps we are on the moon, that the king painted, not the earth, but the kind of moon in the sky. And I'm curious now, I think this is the world that we climbed through in the city. We see the maze, there's right in the middle there, the two pieces of toast that were on the buildings that I could not quite reach. I see the tower in the south here. And in the background there is the maze and the castle. So let's go closer to it. We're zooming out farther and farther. Oh, I can actually walk around. Before I could only walk in a straight line. Oh, okay, so there is an invisible wall stopping me from going too far, it seems.
When the universe ended, I knew that everything I'd made was over. And as I sat there, looking out into the darkness, I thought back on all the things I'd built and left unfinished. I realized something. I wasn't sad that it was all gone. I had fun making all that stuff. I would have done it anyway. And then, somehow I knew that when I woke up, all my work really would be destroyed. And that's when you showed up. I don't know how you got here, but I'm glad to see you. I have something for you. This brush isn't mine anymore. My work is over. It belongs to you now. I hope it makes you happy and that someday they will say,
Silver
he
brush.
is a better man than his father. That door will take you anywhere you want to go, but leave quickly, child. None of this will last for long.
And that night, even though he was very tired, Monroe did something that would have made his mother very happy. He painted.
So we did kind of get confirmation there that the king was our father, and he finished the swan. Cute with two little chicks. Nice. Beautiful. Okay, wow. What a lovely game this was. So first, my interpretation of the story. So the way I interpret this story is that the boy's father was kind of absent his whole life, and then when his mother died, he became an orphan. That's said at the very start of the game, and it looks like he's kind of living through memories, or perhaps living through stories that his mother told him, that also are linked to the paintings that she makes. And I think she might have done that to keep him safe from having an absent father. Like make up stories that he was a king and he had his kingdom to run, and that's why he wasn't there. Like parents sometimes protect their children that way. And then this was kind of his grieving process, it seems. But then he does get one thing from his father, or also his mother, and that is that paintbrush, that story that he has been told, that he can paint whatever he wants and make it real. That's kind of how I interpret it. Then the art style of the game, incredible fan of chapter 1. The way that was introduced as just a blank canvas, you throw things at the wall literally and see what sticks, the way you discover a new part of the world with every globe that you throw, even if it's the outlines of a window or a little box that's on the ground. It just felt so good. and also the result when you were finished with it was so beautiful, like a Japanese ink drawing with just the black outlines, the ink blots, and then just a little dash of color with the statues that were there. Really beautiful. Chapter 2, also a very beautiful world, and the mechanic with the plants was quite stunning as well to see the result. Only the process of throwing the orbs to make the plants grow was sometimes a little slow, it felt like. Or perhaps I was just throwing way too many orbs. But there I felt a little bit of frustration of being stuck too long, especially after the promise that had been made in chapter 1 of this discovery of the world. That was kind of gone in chapter 2. A lot more to explore, of course, and a few cool mechanics as well with the flow of the water that you had to move up and down, the paddles that you could throw a ball at to activate mechanics. Also quite interesting, simple but interesting. And then chapter 3 was actually a bit scary, especially the first time if you don't know what's coming. Quite difficult to navigate, especially looking for the balloons. That took me quite a while trying to complete all of those, especially since the black that you see, the dark areas there, were actually black. They were not just shades of gray light to dark, like you would have if you have shadows. All of the shadows were incredibly sharp outlined with just black, because I even turned up the brightness in the options to see if I could actually see more in the world to find the balloons easier, but that didn't do anything. It was just black. So I think that kind of controls the way you experience that level. I think what if you were to turn the brightness up more? The areas would not have that sharp contrast of light and dark that you could control with the lamps that you activate with the orbs, or the glowing light that you knock out of the tree, and then you can either shoot it with your bullets, or you could move it by bumping into it. Like, that wouldn't have had the same effect, I think, if it were gray in between. You had to have that sharp contrast. So I think that was quite creative as well, the way that was structured. And then we have chapter 4, The King's Dream. Nice way of doing the like showing us the names of everyone who worked on the game, by slowly reintroducing a couple of the mechanics and having us explore the story, living through the life of the king in the 3 phases that we also saw reflected in the game, like chapter 1, 2, and 3. In his young years, then his adult self, and then when he's old and even dies when we see his funeral in the church, and then Monroe showing up there. That kind of showed me as well, linking back to the story, that the king was kind of his father figure, or perhaps his grandfather figure. That could also be the case, that the king was his grandfather who died at a pretty young age, had the queen, his wife, who had a baby, and that could have been Monroe's mother, for example. That those were the stories that he was told. So, really beautiful end. Now, I do have a bunch of balloons. So, I'm going to the toys menu now that I've finished it. 3 balloons for a balloon radar. Clean canvas I already have. Then the concept art I do want to have a look at. So that's 10. Pick up blueprint boxes. Oh, perhaps this is what you have to use to get that achievement. To get the boxes up in the air. So that's something I'll also play around with. Then unlocked after all the balloons are found. So we have one more, just the one more to find. Unlocking chapters. I think that's something you would do on a perhaps second playthrough. And then we have the sniper rifle. So looking at how much this would cost, I could get the balloon radar to get that one balloon. Let's give it a try. Lights up when you get close to a balloon. Then we have the concept art. I'm going to buy that. Pick up blueprint boxes. I'll perhaps play around with this in a little bonus episode. And then we have 2 things to get after all the balloons are found. So I'll hop into that last chapter. There was just that one part here at the end where I'm missing 1 balloon. So let's just go back and have a look for that last one. And see how this radar works. So I see in the background, or in my UI there, bottom left, there is a balloon shape. So I think just getting closer to a balloon will probably light that up.
My own death rising up around me.
Okay, so is the water that is rising a metaphor then for feeling death rising? So I do see that suspicious light that's there. Now I don't quite know how to get there. Let's make ourselves a little platform again. We pick it up. And how far can I move? Okay. So there is an invisible wall on the left side there. I tried to jump to that rock, but it wouldn't allow me to get that far. So let's hop on. So let's also have a look around here.
I floated past chunks of the house I built, or started building. Scarcely 10 years later, and the whole thing was in ruins. My works were meant to last forever, but most of them will be gone before I am.
So I wanted to have a look there if there was anything on the side. Oh. So I'm going to just experiment jumping on a couple of surfaces. So that one also didn't allow me to get on. And I'm thinking that perhaps if I can get off somewhere and at the side and pick up the box from the water, I could carry it maybe to a little area there. So I couldn't jump off on that log. Can I jump off here? Let's try it. Nope, also an invisible wall. So maybe it's not in this area then, because our radar is not really doing anything, or not saying anything. So I'll just float to the end. Oh, it's a little sofa here. Okay, so I cannot go into that room.
Funeral. My own, as it turned out. No one was there. Except you.
Perhaps in the alcove. Oh. Now I see on the balloon radar there that it is growing small when I go this way and larger when I go this way. So perhaps it's here in the alcove. So also the more I go back into the church, it gets smaller. And when I go out, it gets larger. So it looks like perhaps on the left side here,
my
is
last
that a
hope
balloon?
of leaving something that would live on after me.
That looks
And I
like a
began to
balloon.
walk towards it.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. You found every balloon. All toys are now unlocked. And I also get an achievement that I have found all of the balloons. So let's go back to the main menu, to the toys menu. Okay, so I believe that this was also one of the two things that would unlock once I found all of the balloons. So the original prototype. That would be cool to look at. Okay, sniper rifle also just unlocks. We don't have to buy it with balloons. Fires bolts with deadly accuracy. Sometimes. Activate with V. And then stop time. Okay. So I'm going to end this episode here. Thank you all for watching. I will record a few bonus episodes, or perhaps I just combine it all in one to play with these last things that we have picked up, like the pickup blueprint boxes. We also have the concept art to look at. We have that first level here, the prototype that I want to have a look at. And then we have a sniper rifle. That's something we want to try out. So I will do that in a little bonus episode, perhaps two. I'll see how long all of these take. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you for this bonus content.